I thought since I made that one video to show the 4 different types of bobbin lace pillows I have, I thought maybe I'd go ahead and show some of the different accessories you would need in order to continue doing your bobbin lace. Now, normally your pillow's dark. I've got my dark blue one underneath of it, but it's kind of hard to see. So I went ahead and put a piece of light colored fabric over it, which you normally don't do. And then you would also have another piece of fabric that you would use here at the bottom of your work. That way it helps keep your pillow clean, your threads clean, and another padded area for your bobbins to rest on. So first you would start, you have your choice of many types of bobbins. There's the beginner bobbins, which are usually just a long, narrow wooden bobbin with a thinner neck, and then some, if you want, you can use this to put your knot in, or I like to keep my knot down in this part. It's entirely up to you. The other types of bobbins they make in wood are like this. They have a little weight at the bottom that helps keep the tension for you. There's these type of bobbins, which I like using. Same with everything, it's got the weight underneath. And then, of course, you've got your bobbins with the jewels on them, which are just the beads. These are 2 different ones I have. One is a little bit longer than the other. This one is a little thinner, tooled down, so you can use the finer threads on. This one is a little bit thicker, so you can use a little bit bigger threads on. And, of course, with these, you can use the real super thick heavy threads on, like I had when I was working on the scarf that you've seen before with the big chunky bobbins. Thought I pulled one out, but I don't see it. Found it. This is the bigger, thicker bobbin I have, because if you look here, you can see the difference in the heads. This is so you have more space to wind on. Like when I was making my scarf when I showed you earlier, you could use the thicker yarns. Like this is a baby yarn. You can use any types of fibers you want, but being a little bit thicker and fatter, you have more space to wind your thread onto. So you can have more thread on it to work on your piece. On the videos you see that other ladies have done, they show you how to join thread and continue with your project if one of your bobbins runs low. So that is another option, depending on what you're doing. Then you have to have your prickers. The reason for your prickers is you have to prick the holes in your pattern prior to you actually doing your project. So you take the time to prick every single hole in your pattern. This makes it easier for your pins to go through. I have found this one through Laces. This is also another neat one. It's similar to a regular bobbin. It's just instead of having the neck on it, they put a pin in the top. So it would do the same thing. You just poke through your holes. Then once you're done, you're ready to start your project. Now, most ladies like to use the standard flathead straight pins, which work really well. I personally like to use the ones with the little balls on the top, but I get the round tips, the ball tips, and I use the ball on the top. I found if I keep using these standard flat pins, my fingers hurt a little bit faster. So by using the little ball, I have something bigger to hold on to. And then I use the extra long ones, the corsage pins. I use them for other things or other uses. So first you would hook your pattern to your pillow using the flathead pins, because that way they don't get caught with your thread. That's another use for the flathead pins. After you do that, then you want to wind your bobbins. I'm going to do a couple quickie little bobbins. I'm using the size 8 thread. I'm going to pull out about 3 feet or so. It doesn't need a lot of thread to make a project. It's surprising how little thread you use, even though it seems like they'd be a lot. Then you wind it, about half of it onto one bobbin. Then you make a knot over the end. Let me do it over here. What I do is I go put it over my thumb and my finger and pull it through. Let's see, like that. And then I go under my thumb. And that way I have this double knot, so it helps hold it and doesn't come loose. I'll do the other one. And I'll give you a quickie on it. So you wind it up real up on your needle. You can do it in many different ways. That's just the way I do it. Everybody has their own way. And if it's a little loose, you pull, or it's not, your thread is too long, you just pull your loop and then you wind it up a little bit and that will tighten up your spot. So when you get ready to start, you put what they call a extra pin or a temporary pin, and you would hang your bobbins over these temporary pins. So you hang one set over one pin, and you hang your other set over your other pin. And bobbin lace is just basically 2 stitches. Oh, I didn't prick the center one. Let me prick. Okay, we'll start up there. Let me prick those. Okay, so you bring your threads together. You do a cross, which is the center one over the number 2 over number 3, because you always consider them numbers. Number 1, number 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you do 2 over 3, and then you do, now this becomes 2, 2 and 4 over 1 and 3. You place a pin in your first hole underneath the cross you just made. And then you repeat it again. You take 2 over 3, and then 4 and 2 over 1 and 3. After you do that, you take your temporary pins out and pull it tight, and you've done your first stitch. And that's all there is to bobbin lace. And if you added a second one on, let's do another one. I won't put a lot of thread on it either. I'll just make a second one real quick. So there's really not a lot of supplies you need. You need some straight pins, some bobbins, a pair of scissors, a board, and a pattern, and you pretty much have everything you need. Okay, let me grab this one. You can even intermix them if you want. You can use the same type of bobbins all the way through, or you can change it out and use different bobbins. Okay, so let me move this one over here, because you always use only 4 at a time. So if you put this one on, this one becomes 1, 2, 3, and 4, because this one's no longer being used. Now, if you have a lot of them and you want to hold them off to the side, that's when I use my corsage pin. I just stick it in front, and that keeps them from coming back and getting in my way. And when I need them again, I can take the pin out and slide them back into position. So that's some of the different uses I use for my pin. So let's do another one. Let's see, 2 over 3, then 4 and 2 over 1 and 3. Place another pin, and this pin will be at spot number 2. And we'll do it again. 2 over 3, 2 and 4 over 1 and 3. Take your temporary pin out, pull it tight. And if I zero in on this, let me do this. You can see there is a little twisted area in between. Now when you add your next one, you come down and keep going. If you want me to continue and show you how to do a few in more detail, I'll be very happy to. I just wanted to give you a rough idea of the accessories you would need in order to make a project with bobbin lace. I could get you started on a couple of different patterns if you like. It's entirely up to you, but I just wanted to give you a little idea of what's next after you get your pillow and your other supplies.